Hello and welcome back to part 2 of repotting and replanting the eggplant, plantus, plantus. See, that'll work better. Does that work? We can get shown a better view. Sorry, I'm a terrible cameraman. Terrible. But I'm the star, not the cameraman. Okay. So, if you take a look at this plant, it kind of naturally bends this way. So what I'm thinking of how I want to repot it is at more like an angle like this. I'll probably have to support the tray wherever I put it to keep it from tipping, but that might be a little more of an interesting sight per se than just straight up and down. Let me see, as far as roots, what I might still want to cut off for this. Let it go like that. Cut the curves off. But no, I'm thinking I'm gonna just keep it up, and let me get my is like my dirt and foliage, roots and whatever. Catch all. These are some nice, plastic. I think around $15, like $1 a piece. They're not bad. Got them off of Amazon. So this root, I'm going to take off all the way up here. So as you see, that was the amount we took off, and that's the main root. So, and we want to position it. Position it like that. Is that how we want to display it? I think that's how I want to display it, with this being the front. All right. Forgot a scooper. Alrighty, and I'm using the fine bonsai soil. This isn't the coarse. Not that I particularly think you need the coarse for this particular repotting, but it will just probably work a little better for you. Cleaned up a little bit. I wouldn't recommend doing this by the pool unless you're the one that takes care of the pool, because otherwise you might piss off who takes care of the pool. I take care of the pool. Doesn't mean I'm any good at it, I just keep it clear and your skin doesn't melt off or you don't get diseases when you go swimming in it. I think that's kind of the key. So I got all this wire too, it's really neat. I got it, it's a whole kit and it came with snippy snips and several different gauges of wire. I'll go ahead and use the smallest gauge. Gauge. Engage. Forgot I had this wire earlier. I might still try to wire this and maybe do something with these two to bring them. Dog, he's over there across the street having a ball with the neighbor's grandkids. He's out there, I guess, with his grandpa. Running around, being a crazy dog. Okay, so I think that's about enough wire for that. This wire is just going to be what holds the eggplant down. This thing has holes all over the bottom, so I just kind of eyeballed. Should probably definitely do this before you start putting soil in, but some people would claim to be experts. Others like me, I just do it. It's a hobby. This is more of a hobby. It's like what I do with my time. You know, the rest of the world does what they want. I do this. And I thank you if you're actually watching this video. I thank you. This one's a little long and maybe a little nonsensical. I'll show you how it got wired. And that should hold the plant up in place. Now let's start adding more soil to it. And it never hurts to have like a piece of wire you can use as a poker. I'm gonna go ahead and cut me some of this. Now this is all aluminum. It's just different colors. That's like a copper. It's not copper wire, it's aluminum. And of course, though, here in Florida, you may get the ability to garden year-round, but you also get ripped up by no-see-ums year-round. If you don't know what a no-see-um is, just be glad you don't. If you're ever in Florida and you can't see something, but it's like sending shocks through your system, that's a no-see-um. I ever want you to stop being. Lester. This fertilizer is just like all-purpose flower and vegetable. I don't even know if it says the NPK on it. But it's what I had over here, and it's kind of what I do use for most of my... I do a lot more like vegetables and stuff over here. Pumpkins, we grow pumpkins a lot. And it's cool because we actually grow them up in a bush, and I mean, like, we don't make the pumpkin vine into a bush. It'll just kind of maybe start growing out of the compost and up around a bush, and we'll get like pumpkin in the bush. It's kind of cool. Pumpkin in your bush. Ow, ow. Now keep in mind, this is just all my technique, you know, I mean, I developed it by, you know, just working with plants for a long time. I've taken some courses, you know, just at local nurseries. I've read books, I've watched videos like these, and I just kind of accumulated, you know, and working, of course, in this environment here in Florida, because like what works here may not work for you wherever you are. But I think a lot of times people like to impress too much that, oh, this is the only way you can do something. But like I said, I don't ever claim to be an expert or a master. All right, it's coming together nice and well. Pretty sturdy. I'm pretty happy with what's going on here. And you know, the eggplant that come off of this are pretty tasty. I normally just kind of like to slice them and fry them like fried green tomato. And, you know, they're just little, they're not very big. I can't remember exactly what this was. I got some seeds from the local store and just planted them one day. Probably threw a bunch of dirt in a pot and threw it in there, and I was like, I wonder what will happen. And this happened. But that's what, I mean, like, that's what I love about seeds. One of my favorite things. I just kind of see an empty area outside, and I put a seed there, and I just got a plant. Maybe sometimes you can eat that plant. Maybe sometimes you can't. Hopefully the plant never eats you. To moss or not to moss? That is the question. I don't think I'm gonna moss. I think I'm gonna leave it. No, I'm gonna go ahead and moss it. Why not? Moss. Oh, these wire clippers. Clip that out of there. This is some moss I got from the store. You can get a lot of stuff from the store, but why not? Back home, you used to be able to just go strip the moss from outside, but just get your moss pieces and start putting them around. I don't do anything, you know, too fancy with it. Not a very fancy pants. Do a little dance. Sweet romance. If I just had one more chance, I swear I'd show you that I love you. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I think that one was one of Mil Shahar's great hits. Antiquity's greatest pop star, that Mil Shahar was. Alrighty, well that's kind of it in a nutshell. So let's go find a spot for it outside. There's my pool cleaner. Look at how beautiful it is out here. Get some water going in the old hose, y'all. Give it a nice little watering. I think there's going to be a nice spot right over there for it. Whew. You know what? I need to put it in the shade for a little bit first. I'm going to set it up here. Set it up here for a few days. We'll let it acclimate to its new environment. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you again.